Greetings. This is the State of Star Wars crew pretty much going to do a 20th anniversary live stream talking about our favorite Star Wars movie, Revenge of the Sith. Happy 20th anniversary, Revenge of the Sith. You amazing Star Wars movie. And joining me here, I got, well, three people. So introduce yourselves, guys.
Well, of course, there is the greatest of the members here, Captain Henson.
Who's next?
Yeah, this is the Spartan Maniac back again.
And finally,
Jedi Knight Luke, and here we are together celebrating the definition of Star Wars. Changed my mind.
Yes, we are a channel that will die on the hill that Revenge of the Sith is, in fact, the pinnacle of Star Wars cinema.
Hey, I think we all agree that it is. Well, it is our favorite Star Wars movie, but there are some individuals that will probably say, no, it's episode 4, it's 5. Some may even say 6.
Well, you guys don't think Grandpa Wookie watching VR porn is the pinnacle of cinema?
Oh, God. Oh, God, the one from the holiday special.
I would consider that on another level that us mere mortals cannot comprehend. But, well, I mean, Star Wars. I mean, look at my profile icon here. How much of it comes from Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 95%. No, probably about 90% of it.
That image is actually from, well, I see it consistently in my house because it's part of a puzzle piece set. That's where I usually see that image.
I first saw it with those Hasbro figures that came with those collector coins, and the booklets for those coins had this image.
Yeah, that was the that was in 2007 for
that was the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, it was the 30th anniversary, where that collection of figures each came with a coin. And as you're saying, Ensign, your avatar comes from a portion of a massive collage that makes the outer cover of the coin album that you would put those coins in if you collected all the figures.
Yep, I mean, that's just one of the great things about Revenge of the Sith. It's completed the saga. There's a reason why one of the taglines was, "The saga is now complete."
Yep.
Back then.
I could be wrong, but wasn't one of the taglines, "The circle is now complete," as in the exact quote?
No, I think it was.
Let me check on the marketing for Revenge of the Sith, the quotes. I know one. Apparently one of them was every story has a hero, every hero has a destiny, and every saga has an end.
No, the saga is complete May 19th. That's the trailer.
The trailer, I see.
This is going to be, I'd imagine, mostly positive, but a couple of us here definitely have a little something in relation to this anniversary that we're not happy about, but that's not to do with the movie itself. It's to do with something completely different.
Okay, I guess.
Well, I guess to start things off, the theatrical re-release. What an amazing viewing experience!
Oh, it really was.
Theater again.
Yeah, I watched it twice. Well, once because it was with the entire Star Wars club in my city, and yeah, because they had reserved everything and everyone was taking lightsabers and everything. I even went ahead and decided to dress as Anakin Skywalker with the entire blue lightsaber and everything, and only for the theater to pretty much kind of screw up the kind of screw up the screening because aside from having a few technical issues, once they actually get into the movie turns out it's the Spanish dub. Oh, the Spanish dub. I mean, I watched the movie a lot in Spanish dub when I was much younger, before I started watching it in English. But I did not expect it to resurface. I wanted to see it in English, and pretty much I think everybody wanted to. So I managed to see it in English dub in theaters again in the re-release. So I did get my feel on both languages. As one hell of a nostalgia. So,
And what is the Spanish dub like, General?
it's mostly fine, but the most iconic of the quotes of the movie, like "Hello there," or the one of "This is where the fun begins." That those type of quotes, they just don't sound as memorable or as cool as how they are in English. There is one positive of the Spanish dub: it does make the "no" definitely sound better, less awkward and cringy. So that is one improvement it has, but that's the only one it has. Everything else was just better in English. Yoda's voice in particular was better in English. So, but yeah, it was most fine. So yeah. I'll tell you this much. Plenty of people were definitely cheering a lot during that theater experience, the one with the Star Wars Club. They were like cheering, lightsabers turned on. They were like so hyped and everything. And of course, my own father, he was like, when Darth Vader was like being constructed and he was rising from the bed, he was like, "On your feet, sirs, the king has arrived." Yeah, he literally said that because he's a humongous Darth Vader fanboy.
Oh, yes. This is the type of movie that can bring a tear to this soulless ginger's heart.
Yeah, I also definitely have teared a few times when watching and rewatching the movie because that movie's been so cool. So,
Well, rip James Earl Jones, I guess.
oh yeah, definitely rest in peace. Yeah, that was one of his best portrayals as Vader, if you ask me.
I mean, yeah, I think it's so because future performance from him, we were in Rebels and Rogue One, and he clearly sounds old.
Yeah, not nearly as good as how he used to, which is yeah, definitely.
Yes,
not.
this is one of those things where, yeah, it is nice to get the original actor back. But similar to a character like Goku, at some point, you gotta fucking retire the original actor because their age is obvious.
Yeah, that much is true. Yeah,
But that's another reason I'm thankful for Revenge of the Sith. Well, at least coming out when it did, because Ian McDiarmid was able to play Palpatine relatively well, a convincing younger Palpatine, and then James Earl Jones being able to voice Vader and still sounding like he did 20 years ago. It's like, yes. And then you watch them like Rogue One, and it's like,
No,
this is kind of awkward.
yeah.
I mean, yeah, you can know that it's the same person, but like the voice is especially distracting since like it's chronologically earlier, right? But the voice sounds old.
Yeah, it is distracting. Yeah,
I'd say it's less so he sounds old and more so he has trouble speaking smoothly. Like his acting in Rogue One, it was pretty fine in Rebels, but Rogue One in particular, where he just comes off as awkward.
yeah.
But here, though, it's like, oh, you can like, one, his voice is buttery smooth, but also, you can feel the longing in his voice when he's asking for Padme, and the anger when he says she was alive. I felt it.
Yeah, that was awesome. It's also more awesome that it was Hayden Christensen inside the Darth Vader suit in Revenge of the Sith. Because originally it was going to be somebody else, but Hayden was like, "Can I be in the suit?" And George was like, "Yeah, we can get you in the suit."
Yeah, cool detail you learn behind the scenes is that I believe the shoulder piece they had weighted, so when he steps off the table and you see him, that's him like actually feeling the weight.
Yeah.
Of course, I mean, that whole sequence, the birth of Anakin or the birth of Vader, absolutely spectacular.
Well, David Prowse has relationship with George Lucas isn't good, so I guess
Mm-hmm.
he didn't appear.
Yeah, that much is. That much is indeed true, and and also that finale of Hayden with the Darth Vader suit, and then Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine just watching the Death Star. That was like a great concluding shot. That next is Episode 4, A New Hope.
And one of my favorite bits of that scene when they're on the Jedi cruiser / Star Destroyer is when a V-Wing or some V-Wings fly by and they have the TIE fighter sound effect, which just instantly clues you in on, oh, these are the precursors to the TIE fighter without saying a single fucking word. I mean, that was one of the great things about George Lucas's Star Wars in general, of just being able to have something there, never needing to point it out, but just having it there so you can put 2 and 2 together.
Mm-hmm.
Like the fact that, the Jedi cruiser becomes the Star Destroyer, and you don't even need to fucking say it. You just know.
Yeah, exactly. Indeed. And which is something, because in the beginning of the movie we still see all the iconography from the Clone Wars, from the Climber ships to the Venator ships to the ARC 170s, the Jet Starfighters, and then we go from that to the end where we see it leaning much closer into the New Hope aesthetic of the Empire. Yeah, that was like a great transition in just one movie.
And then there's a million things, really. Like, I guess one thing to talk about is in regards to the micro series, about how we had an entire, a micro series, but still, we had like 3 hours worth of animated content made to like lead into this movie. And it's like, of course, that's just a part of a larger topic of discussion of just how much hype was being like built up leading into this fucking movie. Like, this wasn't just a movie. This wasn't just a Star Wars movie. This was the final Star Wars film.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while, that was true. Like, George Lucas had every intention of just sticking to television after this movie.
For 3 years, people pretend TCW movie doesn't exist, but I don't.
I mean,
to be fair, that was also a last-minute thing. That wasn't the original intention.
Yeah.
But the point being, this was meant to be the last, like, traditional Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And, like, they pulled no stops. I mean, the micro series, a whole ton of tie-in games, and the books and comics, which you could always be, you always knew were coming. It's like, I was young when this movie came out. I was only 4 years old when this movie came out. I was limited in what I could be, or what I could sink my teeth into. But boy, what I was able to sink my teeth into, the micro series on DVD, the various commercials. You'd have Burger King commercials where you just had a bunch of Star Wars characters walking around the restaurant. Darth Vader force choking one of the M&Ms. Those M&M containers with the light up lightsaber top.
Yeah, I think they also have the lightsaber spoons for the goddamn
Yes.
Yeah, Kellogg's.
I had a number of them. All of them were red. Never had the blue or green ones, but still.
No, that was I was unable to get any of those, but I did get actually some stickers of Revenge of the Sith that I still have to this day. I had like 2 sets. One of them, the stickers are peeling up, but the other one is still in great condition. So I did manage to get some episode 3 merchandise back then. And
Oh,
if
I had quite a bit of merchandise.
yeah, I still have plenty of it too.
I mean, I had, well, let's see. I had 2 sticker books. I had the storybook. Let's see. I had a few Lego sets, like Anakin's Jedi Starfighter, the Mustafar duel, General Grievous's ship, and then, of course, a bunch of other stuff like the lightsabers, too. Oh, it's just... This was a great time to be a Star Wars fan, you know? Especially as a kid, where it's like, you know, this was when you actually played with toys.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, 2005 in general was a good time because like we got 4 games. First, earlier year got Republic Commando. Then there was it Revenge of the Sith game first or Lego Star Wars video game?
I think Lego first because it came out in March, if I recall. Then the video game in May, and then the movie.
And then Battlefront around November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was another like a television show, and Star Wars Republic was still going on, and we got novels, Labyrinth of Evil, and then Dark Lord.
Yeah.
You know those were the days.
You know, I would absolutely love to like meet a person who experienced Revenge of the Sith through the novelization and or video game
first before the movie.
Because like I would love to know how that one tainted their viewing of the movie, but also if like reading the novel or playing the video game, how that affected them. Because both of those mediums removed quite a bit from the fucking movie. Like the novelization just completely skips over Kashyyyk entirely. And then the video game just removes Padme entirely, along with pretty much everything that isn't Obi-Wan and Anakin doing stuff.
Well, okay. I think I can answer that. We know sort of somebody that did read the novelization first before watching the movie. He said he was a bit disappointed when he first saw it, but then the more he rewatched it, the more he realized, the more he started to grow on the movie and actually like it more and more. So we know that. In my case, I don't remember, but it is possible that I played the GBA version of Revenge of the Sith first before the movie. It's possible. I don't remember well. That's what I think. I do know that I definitely played the video game before getting the DVD. That much I can tell, the GBA version. But as for playing it before seeing the movie, I cannot remember that. So it didn't really change anything in regards to my viewing of the movie. I was still hyped as fuck to watch it. So in my case, it didn't really change anything. That's someone we know. He was slightly disappointed because the movie was not like the novelization, but he over time grew to like it more and more. So yeah.
I mean, I will say this: with the novelization, you can tell Matthew Stover was using an earlier draft of the script because some of the dialogue in the novelization did not pack the punch that the final dialogue did. Like some of the dialogue, I don't remember exact examples, but like pretty much everything, every line of dialogue was just, you know, had these little additions that like really fucked with the flow of the line.
Yeah.
And it's just not as good as the finalized dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, by the way, speaking of the video game, you know what's the weird thing about that? The GBA / the DS version of the game is more accurate to the movie than the, you know, flagship version.
Well, I mean, it was made at Ubisoft, so who knows on that? But yeah.
Well, I would say it's the fact that one was cheaper to create than the other.
And Padme actually appears in the GBA version. Well, GBD's bridge. Well, she does appear technically in the main version. She appears as
As a mention.
no. She does actually appear in one of the scenes that were from the movie. She after Anakin chokes, her body can be seen in the live action footage.
I mean, yeah, but it's like you don't really see her face or anything. It's just like her body just in the floor. You don't even get to see Obi-Wan just putting her hand in her face. Like she's only like mentioned in the snippet in the small crawls whenever you are selecting the level, but that's about it.
But then
Looks, question looks is you're the one that's played the video game the most. Is what has the video game even mentioned or shown Padme? I'm pretty sure at least it's
The-
mentioned her.
The game. See, I could have sworn that the compressed movie footage that shows the preamble to the Mustafar duel, I could have sworn that for the game, Padme's body was erased from that footage, because it's very difficult to spot if it is there. But she's definitely not lying on the Mustafar landing platform in game. And the one mention of her that you get, which is in the Mustafar control room, sometimes you get it and other times you don't. Like, it's literally a coin toss as to whether Anakin says, "You turned Padme against me."
well,
I mean, of course, we all know the most accurate retelling of Revenge of the Sith is Lego Star Wars. So
speaking of the Revenge of the Sith game, don't you find it weird that they released so much?
Okay, yeah, Padme. Okay, I just checked, and yeah, Padme is in the Revenge of the Sith game, in the cutscene where when Obi-Wan is like, your anger and your lust for power for aid on that cutscene. Yeah, Padme is there in the floor, but that's it. That's it. Like you
And
just see her there, and that's it.
there are certain things I noticed about the Episode 3 game. One of them being is it has surprisingly a lot of KOTOR 2 music there for some reason.
wasn't it a case
Well,
of did they have the Episode 3 music?
Look,
Maybe not.
No, they didn't. Remember, most movie tie-in games are developed. No, remember, most movie tie-in games are usually developed alongside their respective movie, and because of that, the score is usually unfinished at the time of completion for the game. So instead of the biggest example, instead of Battle of the Heroes for the Mustafar duel or Anakin versus Obi-Wan, they used Duel of the Fates.
still pretty appropriate because Duel of Fates was still used in the movie for that
Mm.
same duel.
And then what I found it weird is like this weird sense of so many live action footage from the movie being used in this game. Like I don't know
Well, this
why
was-
they use what.
This was at a time when that was just what tie-in games did.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, like in the same year, just as another example, you had the first Chronicles of Narnia game based on The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which was made by Traveller's Tales. And in that game, it was the same thing. Every level began with compressed footage from the movie itself. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like if they're gonna use a footage, not even, like use something original, make it exclusive. Because Enter the Matrix, and that's a good one. And that thing is known for having its own story. So despite being a tie-in for Matrix Reloaded, so you get to see original footage about like an hour worth of it inside the game.
Yes, but that's for an original story. When it comes to a tie-in game that's just an adaptation, you tend to just, or it was very common at the time to just take footage from the movie. I mean, now it's like, what the fuck is this? But back then, I'm sure someone would watch it and be like, oh my god, I can see this footage.
I mean,
yeah.
that was actually one of the marketing points for the Episode 3 game back in the day. It was literally a selling point in a small speech bubble type thing on the front cover. Actual footage from the Episode 3 movie.
And of course, just like what, like 6 months later, where you're just gonna get the fucking DVD. So then it's like no more selling point.
But it does write home about how much of an event Revenge of the Sith was at the time it came out.
Yeah, you gotta love it. I mean, everyone knew how this film was gonna end, so it's like, oh yeah, play the video game, read the comic, read the novelization, read the junior novelization.
The junior novelization.
Like, there are certain things interesting from the EU which were already showing what would happen in episode 3. For example, real fans knew that the Wookiee planet was called Kashyyyk years before episode 3. So
well, obviously.
and then people also knew that, well, Anakin became Darth Vader because he fell on a molten pit or something. That was said in Return of the Jedi novelization.
I mean, yeah, true.
Oh, and of course, speaking of EU, I have in my hand one of the Jedi Reader's books, Revenge of the Sith, Obi-Wan's Foe, which is basically an adaptation of the Obi-Wan going to fight Grievous. And interesting little tidbits here. Like, we see Dooku training Grievous in an illustration. And later on, we get a bit of Grievous's backstory.
Yeah, I think
specifically referencing him as a warrior on, what was it, Kalish?
Ali.
So then it's like, oh, you see, this is what's so great about some of these like children's books of like, oh yeah, even an adaptation of the movie will just throw in bits of EU there. It's great.
Yeah.
Also, like Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter has purple accents, which is interesting.
Yeah, because his finalized starfighters in the film have red and blue accents, respectively.
Also, what's interesting here, and of course, real fans of Revenge of the Sith know this, the scene in which Obi-Wan just force pulls that big piece off the ceiling to crush the Magna Guards, that was meant to follow up on a fight he was going to have with the Magna Guards. They filmed it, but never finished the CGI. But here we have an illustration of that.
Speaking of deleted scenes, which appeared in other media, there's a scene of the clones disguised as Jedi, which is in the video game, Lego Star Wars the video game, which does not appear in the movie
or the video game adaptation.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really blame George for taking that out because it's like, okay, as absolutely fucking hilarious as that is, I think it's like honestly, who the fuck would be fooled by that?
I mean, Obi-Wan even calls that out in the scene itself. You clones make terrible Jedi.
Like, yeah, I get the joke is on purpose, but again, it's like, why?
No,
because the Jedi would be able to like sense that, like even if they couldn't see Tamora Morrison's fucking face.
From a video game perspective, that in the Lego Star Wars, that was actually effective because like the player thinks, oh, another Jedi NPC, and then they start shooting at you. So like, I guess that was like effective.
I mean, yeah.
Although I will say I did actually like Lego Star Wars' version of that, where Obi-Wan sees them, gets excited for a second, but then Yoda stops him and shakes his head. And like, the Lego games are known for their comedy, but that moment is actually quite effective.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's still canon because it's in the Revenge of the Sith novelization, so there's that.
Oh, well, I guess there's that.
It was because of being very young when playing Lego Star Wars the video game for the first time. It was many years before I actually learned that was based on a deleted scene. And in terms of scrapped content, Henson, with what you were saying about Obi-Wan fighting the Magna Guards. That, as I'm sure you already know, is the preamble to facing Grievous in the novelization. So
Yeah.
Somebody wants to ask the question. Sure, you can ask it.
So, there was another deleted fight scene, like Palpatine and Mace Windu's original fight scene, or at least the test footage we have of their original fight, so much fucking better than the one we wound up getting. Like, I understand George's idea of actually getting to see Ian McDiarmid and Jackson's faces, but that did not help that fight at all. Like even watching the fight in the theater, it's like, okay, this is like genuinely the worst part of the movie. Like, because I just cannot take that fight seriously. I do not buy that these are two, well, more so Ian McDiarmid. Like, I do not buy that, like, this is the fight that would have actually happened between those two.
I mean, Ian McDiarmid was more of a story actor. Like, I don't think he was capable of doing such stunts in a movie.
And also, the idea of shooting the fight like that was last minute.
Oh yeah.
So Ian McDiarmid, so Nick Gillard had to really like rush through like bits of training just to like have something there.
Well, Samuel Jackson, on the other hand, he's been in a lot of action movies, so like he's more used to this stuff then. Yeah.
It's explained in the Becoming Sidious behind the scenes documentary that Ian McDiarmid's acting background was predominantly rooted in Shakespeare, which was not very action oriented. And Rick McCallum even said that doing a lightsaber fight was the last thing he would have ever wanted to do. And Sam Jackson even takes this one step further by admitting that there were times where he caught McDiarmid off guard and whacked him because McDiarmid just he just couldn't fight at the speed that the crew were hoping to convey or wanted to present.
I think the most they should have had him for the lightsaber duel is just get the lightsaber out and just but any sort of actual attacks should have just been Nick Gillard. Like at most, like the smallest things he could do, but everything else just leave it to Nick Gillard.
I mean, I think they should have just gone with the original idea of at least using a double for McDiarmid, because again, it's just the weakest part of the movie.
And actually, as well, that fight, whilst we're on the subject, actually has a very interesting continuity error in it, which is actually a result of what the scene was originally written to be.
It's not a continuity error because
continuity from a on-screen perspective. I know the novelization I know the novelization and the comic make it clear that the correct weapon was the case for the entire sequence, but from a production perspective, Henson Doan, as I'm sure you two know, Lucas's original idea for the office duel was to have Anakin present at Palpatine's side when the Jedi kill team came to arrest him, and the fight was supposed to start out the way it does in the film, with Palpatine using his own lightsaber but then quickly getting disarmed, and then using Anakin's lightsaber for the rest of the fight, which would have then resulted in Palpatine kicking Anakin's saber from Palpatine's hand and rolling back into the office floor, rather than the revised idea in the final film where, canonically speaking, Palpatine had his own saber kicked out into the Coruscant skyline and falling through the depths. But they didn't reshoot the fight to compensate for that. Like, the actual fight itself was not reshot to compensate for that change for the final script. So they just re-rotoscoped the blade to red in the hopes that fans wouldn't notice. But if you look closely, you can actually see Anakin's hilt in Palpatine's hand in a couple of shots, which
Surprisingly, no, it actually is not easy to notice. You really have to pay them close attention. I mean, after watching the movie for like 50 to 100 times in my youth, I never noticed it until somebody pointed it out to me in the late 2010s. That's how long it took me to realize, oh, it's actually Anakin's lightsaber, but just red.
well,
So I guess it worked, but yeah, those eagle-eyed, really good viewers will tell.
You know, about the lightsaber, I did not try to really mind it that much because if you see certain scenes, you can see Grievous for some reason holding Anakin and Obi-Wan's lightsaber.
Yeah.
that's because they just took the props that they had and just scanned them, so they had digital models to use for
But then
Grievous.
again, Anakin's lightsaber has a green blade, so it's cursed to look at.
Although one of the most iconic sort of fan theories, had things gone differently in this movie's events, is if Anakin had won the duel on Mustafar, people think he would have continued to use that hilt and just changed the crystal so that the blade was red.
Yes, remember all the marketing for the movie had Vader with his lightsaber ignited.
Oh yeah.
I'm not saying it's a problem that we didn't see that in the movie, but I'm just curious. Just was anyone who watched the movie and saw all that marketing material, were they disappointed that we never got to see that?
The prequel trilogy haters claim we're disappointed.
I mean, now then we have other interesting things too. Like one of the things I distinctly remember about marketing, or at least the merchandise, Darth Vader having his own Jedi starfighter.
Oh yeah, that is actually a thing.
You know, we had a toy of it, and we even had a Lego set of it.
Yeah, it was like an imperialized Jedi starfighter with a red tint to the cockpit windows.
Yeah.
Speaking of the lightsaber, no, I think it was removed in the complete saga, but in the video game, I'm pretty sure I saw Anakin holding a red lightsaber in the final Episode 3 level.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's supposedly the one that he would have gotten as Darth Vader, given to him by Palpatine. So that's pretty much.
And so I think Luke mentioned that would Anakin still use his original lightsaber if they defeated, Obi-Wan on Mustafar, but Episode 3 game shows that, well, he will not, or maybe like he uses the red lightsaber and kills Palpatine immediately. So I don't know about that.
Well,
Who knows
actually,
from that?
if we're talking about Anakin with the red blade for a second, one of the most iconic depictions of that is Player 2 Anakin from the Episode 3 game, because as I'm sure all of you remember, each character in the Episode 3 game has an alternate skin for the Player 2 version, and Anakin's alternate skin is him hooded with a red saber, presumably the one that Palpatine gives him in the alternate ending to the game. So we kind of got it there.
There was the whole Anakin versus Asajj Ventress on Yavin using a red lightsaber.
Yeah, but that was one of Ventress's own sabers.
Yeah, that is one. Oh, look. Hi, Clint. Hello there, he said.
Oh, that's Clint. Hey, dude.
Yeah. Hello there.
Yes, I guess that also just goes to show you that this is definitely one of the most quotable Star Wars movies.
That actually is a good question. Which is, out of all the Star Wars movies, which is the most quotable one?
This one.
Oh, you think this is one?
Yes.
Okay, here's something we can do for fun. Anyone pick a quote, pick a quote, start it off, and let's see who can finish it off first, just to prove the point.
What
of
about
any Star Wars movie, or just this one?
From this film in particular.
Okay. What about
the droid attack on the Wookiees?
Yeah, sure.
I have brought peace, freedom, security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Don't make me kill you.
You fool! I've been trained in your Jedi arts by Count Dooku.
Okay,
Good.
here's
Slice the pride.
double the fall.
The
Okay.
point being, it's like,
Okay.
honestly,
Okay,
I'm sure
here-
you could
Okay.
get like a
Okay,
group
here's
of
one.
people.
Look. What do you gotta say, look?
I just wanted to throw this one out there. What kind of a nonsense is this? Put me on the council and not make me a master?
It's never happened in the history of Jedi before.
Well,
I forgot the specific quote, but I know
It's
which one it is.
It's never been done in the history of the Jedi. It's insulting.
Oh, that one, yeah. Calm down, Anakin. You've given a great honor. To be on the council at your age has never happened before.
well, Ki-Adi-Mundi was in the council before becoming a master, but that's a different topic.
Here's a different topic in the EU.
The
So,
point being, this was just a very quotable movie, and man, it of course the acting also plays a major part of it. Like you can especially feel it when you have other actors acting out these lines, and it just feels so fucking off. Like, when we got TCW season 7 and we had Matt Lanter speaking the lines as Anakin, and it's like, okay, whoever was directing this was clearly not wanting to do Revenge of the Sith, because this just feels completely fucking different.
And speaking of actors, like the good thing about like something like Episode 3 or Incredibles is like, to a certain degree, is Samuel Jackson is usually described does have range, but these damn movie makers always put him in some kind of a overly aggressive or sarcastic type. But Samuel Jackson in this movie is more like a calm and centered person. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but I would want to see more of those type of roles.
Well, he also does have the dark side tendencies, one could say.
Yeah, the closest you'll get to him being that calm is Nick Fury in the MCU. That's the closest you'll get, at least, especially in the earlier movies. Like that is the closest you'll get. So yeah.
Yeah. Now, speaking of Mace Windu, I wonder if anyone who played the video game and fought Mace Windu throughout that entire level was like really excited to see that in the movie, but then again, that just like did not fucking happen.
Well, okay. To me, it didn't happen like that, but he did kill me several times in both the GBA and the console version. It's only until I got good or better at the game where I actually managed to beat him at the end. In both.
I'm specifically speaking on if anyone played that video game and had this like awesome fight take place between them, and they were just like really excited to see that in the movie, but then the movie comes out and that fight just does not fucking happen.
Not in my case, no.
There are some people, believe it or not, who think that boss fight is shit.
Seriously?
I don't.
If I told you who I've heard say that, you would probably want to kill them.
I don't typically mind the part where Mace Windu does not fight Anakin, because he already had his fight with a literal Sith Lord, and so that was enough. Like,
I mean, but
do you have to have him? What point are you trying to prove to have him fight Anakin? Also,
I mean, like you know how around this time we had the Infinities comics telling all those what if stories, as well as the Tales series. Wouldn't it have been cool, just like as a one-off official works Star Wars short film, even if it was animated, where we saw Like, they would have to make it crystal clear that it's not canon, but wouldn't it have been nice to have an official work of Anakin and Mace fighting each other? Even if, going by the law, Mace would wipe the floor with Anakin due to the differences in their fighting styles.
I am honestly surprised we didn't get any Infini's specific comics for instance. I mean, we do have the alternate ending to the game, but that's about it.
Well, there's technically Tegan Bing going through the prequel trilogy, but I doubt that's. There were,
In fact,
there were alternative episode 3, episode 2, episode 1.
but just very quickly, on the subject of the Anakin Mace fight, the handheld version, which I did replay earlier this year after having not played it for a good while, having watched the micro series a couple of times, it's given me a whole new appreciation for that game because I'm sure a lot of little details for that version were taken from that series. Like
Including the soundtrack.
Like there are a couple. I mean, the soundtrack is one, but with the handheld game boss fight against Mace, there's one of the moves that he pulls off is a really quick, rapid fire, force augmented punching sequence, which looking back is probably a reference to his strata point augmented punches against the super battle droids in the micro series, except in the context of the handheld game, he's doing it against Anakin and somehow not losing his hands to Anakin's lightsaber if you manage to block it.
Oh yeah, that's gameplay for you, just taking precedence. So there's that.
Speaking of the episode 3 game, I would actually call episode 3 game a unofficial, third season of the micro series because I hear the voice actors, right? Matt Lucas. I think there's Terrence Carson, and there's James Arnold Taylor. So it feels like this natural continuation.
It would have been quite interesting to get a bonus squeeze out of the micro series to do an animated episode 3 adaptation back then.
Yeah, it would have been interesting. Yeah. Speaking of the video game guys and Revenge Sith, did you guys ever see the trailers that came out before the release of the movie or the game?
General, can you play the fan-made trailer I sent you?
We'll play that in a bit. But I'm curious. Did you guys ever see the official trailers of the movie or the video game? Did you guys ever see them?
Well, obviously, yes.
Yeah,
at least in terms of the movie, I don't remember ever seeing trailers for the game.
Mm.
It used Boba Fett's, character music for the trailer.
Oh, I think it was one of them. Yeah, I think I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, because there were 2 trailers that I did see before watching the movie, and I love those 2 trailers. Then I watched the 3rd one and then listened to it.
And the weird thing is, people complain about how the trailers show all of the movie.
One of them kind of does, the other not so much, and that's actually one of my critiques. If I got here the 2 trailers, so we can watch them if you want to.
Yeah.
So,
Are you sure we're not going to get copyright flagged for showing these?
If you think no, then we can just not show them. So, do you guys want to see them or not see them? I mean, we still have the entire overlay of us talking around it, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Do we see them? Do we not see them?
No.
No? Okay. Well, in that case, you know what? Then we could watch it muted.
Let's just watch it muted.
Okay. Well, let's watch it muted.
Wait, so would they flag it anyway for the footage? And just turn on the music then. whatever.
Yeah, it's muted. Like we just
No,
literally
just
muted.
turn on the music because they'll copyright it for anything.
Yeah, the music definitely is what
Yeah,
gets the
that's
most
the thing.
heavily copyrighted. So the video's muted.
Well, that's Luke.
Yeah,
Another Luke.
yeah, that's how the first trailer came out when back in the marketing. It was basically it started as a collection of scenes from episodes 1, 2, and even 4, and then it went to showing a bit of episode 3. As
Did
you
you
can
know
see.
that the Rise of Skywalker also attempted to do this and then nobody bought it?
Well, I mean, that movie trying to use and such different. But this one was Ben Kenobi just narrating to Luke, we are forward the past generations, Jedi Knights, so peace and justice, the old republic, before the dark times, before the empire. Like, just seeing that quote from episode 4 and just showing the footage here, and I like it. And then here's like, Lord Vader, yes, master, rise.
And
And
of course,
then,
this was when Vader's arms were up instead of down.
oh yeah, that too. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about the comics from the 2017 run?
Oh god. Well, I mean, yeah, but yeah, and that's where you see the movie. It shows plenty of, yeah, as you can see, all the scenes in the movie, but they're like so big, like you don't really get anything spoiled, other than just I guess the fight of Anakin and Obi-Wan, but that's literally never part of the marketing, so like whatever.
Well, I mean,
So,
I would
yeah.
also say when it comes to this movie, you already know exactly how it's going to end. So they don't need to hide anything.
There is that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that trailer to me, what I really liked, because it was like it hyped you for the movie, but it didn't really show any major spoilers or anything significant that would pretty much make it like, oh yeah, I already saw like half of the movie. Which no, it was good enough to get you hyped without spoiling anything, and I really liked it.
Let's see the second trailer then.
Yeah, let me get the second trailer. I got it here. The second trailer is where I do think that criticism is a bit more legit, that it showed more, because this one actually you can tell more, like you can actually hear more of the dialogue, see more of the scenes of the movie. Like even that scene was never in the movie. Now I think about it. Yeah.
No,
So,
but the part about the dark side part is like we know Palpatine will seduce Anakin, so that can't be used as a legitimate complaint. This scene, right? That's not a legitimate complaint in my eyes because
it's not a spoiler that he'll do that. The thing is how he would do it, and that is where, yeah, like the is it gonna happen? It's not really a spoiler. It's the how is gonna happen, and that's where this trailer I do think kinda dropped the ball a bit, because it does show a bit too much for my taste, at least. So as you can see, and seeing just cutscenes, you can tell what dialogue is going on. So even muted. So yeah, and we even see you're on discounts, but do not rank the rank of masters. Like, yeah, it shows a bit too much for my taste for a trailer. If you
I
ask me.
mean, but again, as Henson said, those who were lucky enough to experience this movie firsthand, and by God, I envy them.
Me,
Like they were, you know, if you were old enough to experience this firsthand, chances are you saw the OT and episodes 1 and 2. So the core beats of this film were pretty much written in stone for decades.
And then when you also add the EU to that mix, then there was also more things about this movie you will know. Like most of these, like what is shown in here, like they're sort of mentioned in the novels and the comics.
I mean, yeah, obviously the novelization and the comic did spoil the movie to some extent because they released before, but still, but I mean, but those are novelization, the comic, the trailers do it. The trailers showing, because to me it really shows much. It even shows Yoda fighting somebody. We know it's Arsidious, but like I think this trailer was a bit too much for my liking. Like I like more the first trailer a lot more, because it shows you just enough to get you hyped, but doesn't really show any major story bits or anything major that will be considered a spoiler. So
you should also play the fan-made trailer of Quotable Episode 3 just to compare it.
The Lego one.
That's an also interesting thing.
I mean, sure. Okay, let's watch. Okay, let's watch this one. Let's see how it's done in Lego form.
No, no,
guess.
this was made around 2002. Turn on the sound also.
Okay. Never
Wait,
seen this
so
one before.
if this was made in 2002, where was it originally posted? Because
Wait, did you
YouTube
turn the
didn't
sound?
exist at the time.
Oh, yeah, I muted it, but
Let's start from the
Is
beginning.
it possible to learn this power?
okay, sure.
Wait, no, that's. Oh God, I think I know what this thing is. This is a completely different trailer. This guy dubbed over it.
Hey, you sent it to me.
I need to send you the real thing.
Lol. Well, I guess we'll watch it.
Some consider to be unnatural.
Lol. It has dialogue from episode 5. Well, that's funny.
Not from a Jedi.
No, this wasn't made literally in. Oh God.
Lol. That was wrong. Well, he looks for. I actually got a better one to show. So it's fun. I mentioned this in the Defending Revenge of the Sith. I actually did not watch the movie trailer first. I watched the video game trailer first, and that one I really enjoyed. And I watched them both in the DVDs from Clone Wars Volume 1, and it was really fucking cool. Like I really enjoyed seeing those two trailers. They hyped the shit out of me for the movie. Like this one. Like
Oh, the video game trailer.
Yeah, that's the trailer I really enjoy for that. Like you can see. Yeah, it's just so freaking cool. Like,
Yes, I do wonder when this game will get the remaster treatment.
Shush. Shush.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yes.
right. It hasn't happened yet.
And Luke is dreading to no end that if it happens because of who we know is gonna do it.
I know. I want a PC port, but it's not.
Yes, it is a surprise this never got a PC.
Okay, General. I sent you the real trailer. Okay, not the real trailer. Real fan-made trailer.
Okay.
You should play
Man,
that.
Okay, I'm gonna get it soon. 555. The fact that the game released in May 5, 2005.
555.
Yeah, the video game was released in 555. No joke.
We are on the pipe. 5x5. An
Wow,
alien
talk
ship.
about this being a fives.
Lol.
The difference is minimal.
Nah.
Yeah. Like if you watch the trailer, I see you'll notice similar things but different things.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that trailer for the Red Sith game, you can tell there are some things that they obviously were in the final game, but others that were cut out or changed. So
Certainly one of the coolest aspects of the game is the fact that the developers brought on Hayden Christensen and Nick Gillard to swing around lightsabers for like, what was it, a week?
Lol.
Was it motion capture that they used for?
No, I think they just filmed them doing the moves.
And this is the real one, 2002.
Okay, let's see this one. Let's see. Oh, but okay, for Great First 2002. Okay, because it's using Star Wars music, I'm gonna have to keep it very low. Because the Star Wars music is the shit that gets copyrighted the most on YouTube, more than the visuals.
You need to hear the dialogue also.
I mean, yeah, but the music really lost.
Anakin Skywalker, you are no longer part of the Jedi Order.
Wait, is that Mace Windu? Why is he so low?
It was Mace Windu, yeah. Okay. Lol with the humong. You know, I don't think I ever saw those designs of Star Destroyers in freaking Lego form.
I think some of these are custom assets.
Yeah.
I sense the Sith are behind the Senate.
Gone too far. This
Oh, is that the deleted scene?
Jedi have become reclusive.
No idea.
It's a fan-made trailer made in 2002.
Yes, master.
I feel like I hardly know you anymore.
Lol, fun fact, that kinda happened in the movie. I don't know you anymore. I guess
There
they
aren't
did.
enough Jedi left to
The only thing
confront the
that was not there is
No.
Boba Fett.
No.
And one more last. Lol. What's up with that? Lol. Oh, Droideka's.
Kiadi Mundi looks horrendous.
Padme being pregnant. I guess we did get that, though that was predictable. Okay, well, definitely very different. We did not have Obi-Wan protecting Padme from clones.
Thanks for the commentary, General. Never would have guessed.
Though now that I think about it, what do you guys think if we actually did get this in the movie? Like some of the stuff we see here.
I have no idea what that 10-time monster.
Well, I'm. Yeah.
Well, Lego doing what they can with limited mobility.
Rise of the Empire. Is that what they called it back then? Before we actually, well,
No,
fans
this-
called it back then. I don't know, but I think I like more Revenge of the Sith than Rise of the Empire.
Look, the lava scene, right? You can see that the lava scene was known by fans back then, even in 2002.
I mean,
I mean,
yeah.
plus, it's just one of those common sense things where what happened to Vader? Oh, burned alive.
Yeah, must have been pretty damn hot.
Although,
Of course, you
the,
do have some people who think that, oh, instead of him being burned alive, it should have just been dark side corruption that fucked up his body.
But then why would he need the cyborg suit completely covering him? Why not just parts of his body and that's it?
do people not remember that one shot in Empire where there's scarring on the back of his head?
Yeah, there's that too.
Well, that's
And no
what I'm
hair.
saying. Dark side corruption fucking his body.
Well, yes, but dark side corruption doesn't degrade your body like that.
God.
Well, keep in mind, the movies can do whatever they want compared to the expanded universe.
Yeah. This one is another trailer from the video game. Apparently has this weird edgy music in it. It came out like before the before the game release.
You gotta love it when you can just tell this was in the early to mid 2000s.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
Was episode 3.
Okay, so that-
the video game before you see the movie. Live it. Wait
Okay, so that trailer showed a lot of the video game's take, albeit a very early take, on the Mustafar duel, which is obviously one of the highlights of the film, and that's something I would love to go in depth with you guys on in terms of the varying depictions.
Man, the trailer is so 2000, it hurts.
It's definitely my least favorite of the two video game trailers. I definitely prefer the first one, the one that was included in the DVD, because
But did you see that Grievous has like green lungs?
I didn't see that actually. Let me see where exactly
What do you mean? What exactly? Where?
in the trailer. I mean, I'm looking for it. Oh, there. Yeah, it's in the game. It's still the same.
Yeah, so like that seems to be based on a Grievous art design from the EU rather than the movie, because like Grievous has regular looking heart.
Well, I mean, they had to do something with 2005
Look,
graphics.
Nintendo DS and Game Boy Advance. God, I miss the Game Boy Advance. Those were the good days.
Yeah, I miss it too. But now it's all for the Switch. So that much is there. But yeah, out of all those trailers, my favorite's probably the one of the. Okay, video game trailers obviously I like the first one. Movie wise, I like the first one. But which one do I like the most? It's a really tremendous draw between the first teaser trailer of the movie and the video game. I think maybe the teaser trailer of the movie is the one I liked more, but I like the video game a lot. Which one is your guys' favorite? Like the one you like the most out of them all?
I mean, you just gotta go with the original teaser trailer.
The first one too. Okay, from the movie. Okay, that one. Look, which one did you guys like most?
I mean, I like the second trailer also, mostly.
Okay, look.
Probably lean more towards, if we're talking about the movie trailers specifically, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards the first one.
Okay, first one. And video game wise, which one do you like more?
I don't care.
Well, I was asking look, but okay.
Well, with the game one, it doesn't matter as much. The first one, I probably prefer overall, but I do love that moment in the second trailer where Vader's mask appears over Anakin's face.
Oh, that was cool, yeah.
Which is actually, which in a way was kind of interpreted into other Star Wars media of the time, because you've got the Nelvarn cave scene from the Clone Wars micro series, where the hieroglyphics take the shape of Vader's face or his helmet with Anakin's eyes in the middle, which to this day is actually quite freaky still.
There was plenty of marketing back then that were pretty much putting Hayden's face inside the helmet of Darth Vader.
But actually, just quickly, on the subject of the game, there's actually a line. If you pair Anakin against Vader in the versus mode, sometimes Anakin will say to Vader, "You are not my fate." And I wonder if that line is actually meant as a reference to the Nelvarn cave scene from Clone Wars, like as if he recognizes the shape of the helmet.
I mean, it could just be one of those, battle mode exchanges where, of course, the past self references the future self in that way. I don't think it's necessarily referencing the micro series. That's just one of those obvious things that you would do.
I know, but Anakin seeing his future self is a thing in the lore, so
I don't think that's like a big meaning. It's just like, if you know, you know.
Well, like I said, it's one of those obvious things where, of course, if you had a fighting game mode and had Anakin and Vader, of course you would have Anakin say that. Like that's just one of those things that's obvious.
Mm-hmm. It does make you wonder if, okay, say that Anakin, the Mortis arc happened and he knew the future and he didn't get his mind erased, or getting the mind wipe. How do you guys think he would have dealt with the galaxy moving forward if he hadn't turned into, now that he knew that he was going to, do everything he did in episode 3? How do you think it would have happened? Yasin, how do you guys think if Anakin had, post the Mortis arc, he knew everything that was going to happen in the episode 3. He was going to kill Count Dooku. He was going to become the apprentice of Palpatine. He was going to then face Obi-Wan and then become Darth Vader. Like, now that he knew all of that was going to happen, how do you think he would have reacted, and what do you think he would have done now that he knew all of that during the events of episode 3?
I mean, it's really hard to say because so many moving pieces involved there. Plus, I honestly have no fucking idea how Anakin would have reacted to that.
Because the whole thing, and we have to be honest here now that you've mentioned it, General, something that we have called TCW out many a time for these days is lore revisionism. which,
yeah.
of course, Anakin seeing that vision of the future is an example of. But because they had to, they had to have his mind wipe at the end of that arc for the sake of maintaining continuity with the films by the skin of their teeth. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where, honestly, I mean, I don't care about what ifs anyway, so I just have no fucking interest in even spending time thinking of it.
I mean, TCW itself is like a revisionism, or like I'm not okay. So the main difference, other than TCW and the Clone Wars multimedia, other than what you think portrays lore better, is Clone Wars Macromedia did not came after episode 3. It was literally designed in a way to start from some place after episode 2 and then end around episode 3. So it's like a natural progression. But TTW is instead designed in a way to make a hypothetical scenario where you place an entire television series between 1 and 2 and 3. So like the whole context is different.
Yeah, indeed. There were some posters. Well, one in particular from Revenge of the Sith that pretty much showed, as you can see there, Anakin's turn that he will eventually become Darth Vader. I don't know if you guys saw that poster.
I mean, I always want this Vader mask to be. Oh, is it his cloak?
Yeah.
Yeah, no wonder that base looked too.
It actually looks a little bit like the.
I mean, to me, it does look funky, but I can see what they were trying to do. So I think it was fine. So yeah, the one that definitely was better implemented was the one from the Phantom Menace that pretty much showed, Anakin will eventually become Darth Vader. That one. Better implemented. I actually never saw that poster back then. Granted, I was 2 years old when the movie came out, but still. So, but yeah, I mean, there was marketing back then, pretty much saying, Anakin is going to become Darth Vader. Yeah, I mean, obviously, because the original trilogy had already set that up.
It is certainly interesting. This movie was released at a time where, you had no choice but to watch the original trilogy first. And then go to the prequels, but afterward, now you can watch in the correct viewing order of 1 to 6.
Yes, people. Star Wars movies are meant to be watched chronologically.
At this point, yeah.
Release order.
Like, the only reason to watch them in release order is just for historical context, and even then you would have to go back to the original theatrical releases of the OT. Even the theatrical releases of the prequel, since Phantom Menace had additions made to it on DVD and even clones to some extent.
I can only accept release order under the context that you watch the theatrical versions of the original trilogy first, and then the prequel trilogy, and then the revised original trilogy.
Although at that point you would have to watch the 97 releases of the OT before watching.
Sucks for you guys. I have the 1977 80-83 version, but that's none of my business.
No.
Not to mention, I mean, the original release, well, although technically one of the earliest changes made was adding in the episode 4 New Hope subtitle in the 81 re-release. So, yeah.
Which is funny. Some people claim that that Star Wars, the original movie, having added a New Hope, came out into the 90s.
No. And remember, people, Empire Strikes Back was always called Episode 5, okay? Since 1980.
Mhm.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
I was actually shocked to notice that when I saw the 2004 limited edition DVD, when I saw Episode 5 being called Episode 5. So,
You know, now that the complete saga
It's
has,
complete.
well, I mean, it has been out, but now that you can watch the 6 Lucasfilms in chronological order, one of the best things about that is you get the full fucking story of Star Wars, the rise and fall of Darth Vader, and then you can branch out into whatever you want.
and speaking of Episode 3, right? So that makes me actually want to mention, like, so I actually do prefer seeing Hayden Christensen appearing as a Force Ghost at the end of Return of the Jedi, because that's what he died as before he was Darth Vader.
You know, I did hear an interesting point made about that. I think it was the Unlucky Tug who said this in his prequel video, but he wouldn't have minded the change or changing Sebastian Shaw to Hayden Christensen if they had aged up Hayden Christensen to be the age he would have been at that point. And honestly, I think that is a fair statement.
I mean, kind
But
of.
I do understand George's perspective of, that is how that was the last time he was Anakin. Yeah, he became Anakin last minute, but physical body was already done at that point.
And even then, Force Ghosts can pretty much turn to whatever form they want to present themselves as. So why would he want to present himself as the decrepit old version of what was left in the suit? Why not just the last show himself as what he used to be before he turned to the dark side?
Well, I mean, the whole thing with Force Ghosts being able to change their appearance isn't outright stated in the film, so that's not something I would go to. But within the context of the films, if you just think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, oh yeah, no, that was the last time he was, on the light side. So him looking like Hayden Christensen just makes sense.
Yeah.
Not to mention, if you're just looking at a visual perspective, you see Hayden Christensen and it's like, oh yeah, no, Anakin. But if it's Sebastian Shaw, it's like,
who the hell
it
are
may
you?
take you a second.
There's also the fact that Sebastian Shaw is much older than Alec Guinness, so it would also be very jarring. Because Anakin is supposed to be younger than Obi-Wan, even back then chronologically.
Yeah,
It was supposed to be the apprentice of Obi-Wan.
even back then, Obi-Wan said something like, "Tried to instruct him."
Yeah, so age-wise, Sebastian Shaw would make no sense. Because he's just much older than Alec Guinness. It would just look so jarring.
I will say this. For those in the audience, the tiny sliver of an audience that's even watching this fucking live stream, I got my girlfriend to finally start watching through the Star Wars movies, and she's watching them in chronological order. And despite what prequel haters, OG fanboys might say, someone who knows very little about Star Wars, who doesn't know anything about other people's thoughts on it, general perception of it, if you just stick them down and have them watch through 1 to 6, of course, this is anecdotal, admittedly, but if you just sit someone down and watch through the 6 movies, turns out they're going to understand things pretty well. You're not going to lose anything. And in fact, they will even, dare I say, enjoy watching them 1 to 6.
Wonder where that counter argument is rooted.
Because it's like, I can understand to some extent wanting to watch the trilogy first, but this isn't the 20th century anymore. And Star Wars isn't just the original trilogy. Like, when the original trilogy was like the main piece of Star Wars, and we only had like Phantom Menace and then Attack of the Clones, it's like, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, hell, the story of Star Wars bonus DVD, which was R2 and 3PO going through the story of Star Wars, they did the entire OT, but then only talked about Phantom Menace and clones for the prequels. So, it made sense to have the OT be at the forefront. But with the release of episode 3, you have the full prequel trilogy, and now you have these two trilogies that are meant to be one story. So at that point, watching them OT then prequel just doesn't make any sense, especially with all the additions and changes that have been made to make things more fit together. Plus, I mean, this was one of the great things about my girlfriend watching through, is that she didn't know Anakin became Darth Vader.
What?
She knew about Darth Vader, but she didn't know that Anakin became Darth Vader.
Well, that's a shocker.
So, and it's like, you see, I think the story of Anakin is more powerful seeing him go from this idealistic, naive little boy to seeing his turn to Vader and then seeing the redemption at the end. Not to say there's anything inherently bad of seeing him as the villain, then be redeemed, then seeing what led to that. But just from a storytelling perspective of having the full story, you just go from beginning to end. That just makes sense.
How did your girlfriend avoid all of the spoilers online saying Darth Vader is Luke's father?
Well, she's Russian and lives in Russia. So, I mean, I don't know what the Star Wars fandom is like in Russia, but suffice it to say, she was very unfamiliar with the pop culture relevance.
Well, but
in America, like, oh yeah, everyone knows Anakin is Darth Vader. But in other places that aren't America, they're less educated on such matters.
Yeah, I can definitely say that. Yeah, and here it's definitely really hard to not know because, and I had told this story in the Defending Revenge Sith that apparently one of my friends had first watched Toy Story 2 and they got to the point in which Sorg is like, "No, boss, I am your father," and it's like, "No," and he didn't know where it came from until his friend alongside him, who was watching the movie with him, pretty much told him, "Oh yeah, Star Wars." That's when he realized, so Darth Vader is Luke's father.
You know, I do find it funny in regards to Toy Story 2. Buzz's no is way more in line with Vader's episode 3 no than it is with Luke's episode 5 no.
Lol.
That's just one of those funny things in hindsight. But yeah, it's like pop culture wise, of course, we Americans know that's just part of the zeitgeist. But in other parts of the world, yeah, they may know like some bits of Star Wars, but they're unfamiliar with some of the like big things that became ingrained in our pop culture. Although it was funny, like when she's watching Phantom Menace and she knew about Vader, like I said. So when they're talking about how, Anakin had no father, she was thinking, is Darth Vader his father? And I mean, from a certain point of view, but yeah, it's just great having someone just watch through the films without any of the bullshit around it.
How did she react when she saw Anakin turn into Darth Vader? Like, henceforth, you shall be known as Darth Vader.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because she's watching Attack of the Clones. She sees Anakin kill the Sand People and is like, "Oh, is this the start of his villain arc?" And it's like, well, technically that was Phantom Menace, but yeah, she was definitely shocked by it.
Mm.
And it's like, yes, I think watching the films in chronological order is way more fucking effective than watching OT than prequels. Because, yeah, sure, the "I am your father" reveal is great, but that worked best in the context of its time.
It certainly does not work nowadays because
Yeah.
so much
Well, I mean,
media
it's-
has spoiled it.
I mean, it's not even just the pop culture thing. It's the fact that, like, think about it. In the original trilogy, you had to wait 3 years between A New Hope and Empire. And in that time, you had very little content, and said content barely featured Darth Vader, with like his biggest appearance being Splinter of the Mind's Eye.
God.
Yeah.
And
And some of the Marvel
so
comics.
you had 3 years of just one, thinking about all these like adventures the characters might have gone on, but also knowing and understanding that Anakin and Vader were 2 separate people. You had 3 fucking years of that. So you get to Empire and suddenly, boom, you turn that on its head. 3 years of knowing this fact. Boom. Rug pulled right out from under you. And then another 3 years to get it like actually confirmed that yes, your father he is.
Oh yeah.
And so again, that worked in context, but now that you can just watch the films run right after the other, that doesn't have the impact it once did. And so then it's like there's no point in watching 4, 5, and 6 first. The only reason to do so is for that twist, but that doesn't work anymore because you're just going to watch the films one right after the other. So it's not going to have the intended impact.
And too well known.
Yeah, it's it's ridiculously well known. Like hell, there's freaking TV series like The Simpsons and Family Guy now pairing the shit out of it, and also there's even Big Bang Theory and others.
Of course, let's just go off the assumption that when you're showing the films to someone who has never seen them before, you're doing it with a child who wouldn't know of such things.
Mm.
The point being, there's the correct viewing order, and then there's the wrong viewing order.
There is only one correct viewing order, but there are so many wrong viewing orders.
Of course, we don't even need to bring up the really brain dead machete order.
Oh god, we already did that in a very previous video and ripped it a new one.
Anyway, let me think.
I gotta wonder, like, because you know how much prequel trilogy haters were like claiming that this is they were disappointed with the turn of Anakin, turn to the dark side. But when I saw the movie, I was like I pretty much liked it. We didn't get much Darth Vader, but hey, I mean, it still was a pretty damn enjoyable movie. And of course, we know what happened with the prequel trilogy hate train, but I mean, the movie always did a lot of what it did was pretty good. They had some flaws, but it wasn't anything major to make it be considered a terrible piece of shit movie, like many claim back then. But I'm glad that nowadays people are like, okay, this movie actually was a lot better than I remember.
I mean, I will say, like, having read the novelization, I do think the novelization being able to go into greater detail does benefit the story. But in terms of just looking at the movie on its own, I do think we get enough of the context to understand the turn. Plus, with the other 2 films behind us.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, Does anyone else have anything else to say, or can we just move on to final thoughts?
Doan, look.
This was also the first thing to mention Plagueis. Well, it's not the first thing. Well, we mentioned Plagueis, and we did a review. How many years ago was that? Was that 2020?
Well,
Yeah.
well, the first ever you mention of Darth Plagueis was Labyrinth of Evil.
Well, all that matters is Plagueis was created for the movie, but then just referenced first elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like Grievous.
Yeah, there's that. Look, you were going to say something?
Just for fun, if we're winding things down, just for fun, to each of you, what is the thing that you liked most about this movie, and what's the one thing you would change?
Well, for me, well, my favorite thing, well, that's a lot, I mean, Anakin going full, well, doing some serious spring cleaning of the Jedi Temple. But, I mean, in all seriousness, well, hashtag get them while they're young. But anyway, in terms of my actual favorite part of it is, again, I have so much, but the thing that really sticks with me the most is just the underlying sense of dread that is just building and building throughout the movie. Like, even if you don't know how it ends, you just know that the entire story is leading up to something terrible. And in terms of the thing I would change, I mean, the easy one for me would be the Mace Palpatine fight. I think that's the weakest part about the movie. Although, I do think Padme's, or the Delegation of 2000 scenes should have been left in the movie. I can understand why they were cut to keep the focus on Anakin and his story, but still.
Read the novel.
I think that, like, it would have been great if we got, like, a proper extended cut. Just, like, reinsert as much material into the movie as possible.
I mean, there was talks about there being a supposedly, was it 4-hour cut or 3-hour cut? I'm not sure about that.
I've heard 4-hour, but I think it's also important to keep in mind that, like, that was also, like, proposed ideas too that weren't actually filmed or only got, like, test footage done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of just, like, what we have in the movie, it would have been the Mace and Palpatine fight. That they should have done something different there.
Like, if you really, really want those deleted scenes, then read Revenge of the Sith novelization.
Yes, it should be noted that according to Matthew Stover, I don't know where he said this, but he said that everything in the novel is there because George Lucas wanted it to be. So
I think he said that in was it the Force? Do you know what site I'm talking about?
The Force.net.
Yeah.
I
mean, so yeah, I think it is a case of George understanding that even though he was, he knew what he had to include in the movie, but understanding that the novelization was a great means of keeping in those other scenes and elements. Then, yeah, so the novelization is definitely a good supplement to the movie.
Yeah, definitely did. Doan, what's your favorite part of the movie, and what part would you change?
I mean, my favorite part of the movie is generally the dark mood, and it's the sense of feeling where you know what's gonna happen, but you hope it one day it changes and it doesn't happen. We know the Jedi Order is gonna fall and it's gonna turn to the Empire, and Anakin's gonna become Darth Vader. That feeling is what it is, because maybe one day I hope I see the movie and I hope that that doesn't happen one day, but it eventually does happen, and that sense of feeling is what I like the most about the movie. Well, what I would like to be removed is, let's see, I would hope that the droids could have kept their original voices, because I mean, it isn't annoying like it's in the TCW, but the characterization of TCW battle droids seem to be based on this, and then cranked up to 100.
Yeah, definitely. Look, your turn or my turn?
If you want to go first, you can.
Okay. My favorite part, see, my younger 8 to 10 year self, his favorite part was always the lightsaber duels, so much so that I just watched it and repeat so many times to the point at which I think I kind of scratched the DVD by just going back and back and back all the times just to watch it. So, wow, that's a really weird sound. So, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, my younger self definitely would have said the lightsaber duels, and yes, and nowadays, yes, that is still one of my absolute favorites. But my favorite part of the movie nowadays, I think it's just seeing not just entire 466, but just seeing everything just fall apart. The moment the moment Anakin makes his decision to pretty much chop off Mace Windu's hand, and that's where pretty much everything goes downhill, and just seeing it all unfold just feels sad at times, but also yeah, a sense of dread as well, and just being just seeing it all. It just kind of makes me makes me tearful at times, but also makes me it also makes me think this is such great emotional storytelling. What I'm seeing here, it's just awesome. It's just great. And yeah, I think I enjoy that the most nowadays, although the lightsaber duels would definitely be number two. And what I would change to the movie, I well, the one thing that always pet peeve me, kind of pet peeves me nowadays, is the way Vader says no in the end, in the English at least. I guess that would be one thing I would kind of change a little bit to make it more impactful nowadays. Though, if I have to pick actual flaws of the movie, yeah, I guess I would reshoot the Mace Windu versus Palpatine fight to actually have the issue fixed with the lightsaber hilt, and also having Nick Gillard do all of it, or somebody that looked like Ian McDermott, rather than Ian McDermott having some scenes doing it. So yeah, I think that would be the one thing that definitely I change more. Reshoot the entire part again. That would probably be the one thing I would change the most, or think needs the most for the movie to change. So yeah, so that's mine. As for look, go ahead.
Oof. See, okay, it's partially going to be a cop out because it kind of ties in with what you said, because I just can't shake how much I love it. But looking outside of that for a moment, and you'll see what I'm referring to in a moment, in just a second. If we're talking about stuff that's not action related, probably the arc of Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship, because I mean, you'd obviously watching episodes 1 and 2 gives you all of the context from a lore perspective, but even Revenge of the Sith, if you just watch it on its own, it gives you just enough to understand that these two are incredibly close, and then with the Jedi Order using Anakin the way they do, coupled with Palpatine's manipulation, causes him to not only fall to the dark side, but their bond to just completely fall apart. And it's never personally made me cry, but it is a very emotional thing. And the performances from the actors in this movie, which is something that we've not spoken about too much, are amazing.
Continue, look.
if we're not talking about if we're not talking about the character stuff, and I can just go with what my heart says, probably the final action sequence, which is probably the greatest lightsaber duel that we've ever had in Star Wars history. Changed my mind.
Oh, there's some that would probably try to.
Yep. Claim episode 4 battle is better or something.
Well, some would say 5 or 6, but yeah. Anyway, so look, so as your favorite, what about your least favorite that you'd like to change?
See, it's kind of a cheat because my main change would be I wish there was more. Like, I really believe the movie we got is a case in point example of cinematic perfection, but at the same time, it would be nice to have that complete cut, as Henson said, with as much of the deleted material back in as possible, if for no other reason than Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie, and if that 3-hour or 4-hour cut was ever released, yeah, I'd try my best to watch it.
So you want the deleted scenes restored?
I would say not all of them. Like a lot of the stuff with Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Palpatine, like going through the invisible hand, definitely right to cut most of that. But
or Shakti getting killed by Grievous, that too.
I mean, that one's tricky because on the one hand, I can understand wanting to introduce Grievous on the bridge, but on the other hand, that is such a great introduction of seeing him just like fucking kill a Jedi.
I mean, there is that, but we know now the reason why it wouldn't. Well, back then it would have been because not just the Force Unleashed, but because all the media had said that she survived. So,
well, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know it doesn't matter. There's that, but yeah, but the legation cuts, the legation scenes definitely should have been restored, and also the one of Obi-Wan just talking to Padme before in her apartment before Anakin arrives. That definitely would have also been cool to have restored instead of just in the novelization in the comic.
You know, it's like what Peter Jackson did with the extended cuts of his Lord of the Rings trilogy, where yeah, we got the theatrical cuts, but then for the extended cuts, it's just let's just reinsert as much material back into the movie as possible. And now Return of the King is like 4 fucking hours. And it's
Didn't
like,
they also do it for Terminator 2, if I recall?
I guess they did.
Because I myself have a Blu-ray that does have like 10-20 minutes more of scenes.
There's a scene about the T-800 with the chip removing scene, and more scenes about Miles Dyson. That's what I remember. I mean, it has been a really long time since I watched the theatrical cut of Terminator 2.
All right, let's just wrap things up already.
Okay, well, final thoughts. So, who wants to say first?
Well, so Revenge of the Sith, as I said, is my favorite Star Wars movie. It's the best Star Wars movie and is the pinnacle of Star Wars on the big screen. We've never gotten a film since that has even come close to getting a fraction of this level. The saga was completed with this movie, so now whenever I want to watch Star Wars, all I gotta do is watch the 6 Lucas films. Bada bing, bada boom.
Okay.
Also, when this does get re-released again in theaters, fucking hype.
That'll be 10 years from now. I guess there's that.
Now all we need is just to get Attack of the Clones re-released.
Well, it didn't even get re-released in 2022.
It's very weird going from Phantom Menace to Revenge of the Sith.
Attack of the Clones has always been the one to get the short end of the stick from Lucasfilm and fans. It's always been the more forgotten one of the prequels.
Anyway, next person.
Yeah, I'll go next. Revenge of the Sith is the peak of Star Wars cinematic experience. No discussion. And, well, I unfortunately did not have the time to go to the cinema due to a lot of college work. But sure, you guys are lucky. But I did have the time around this point to do the Labyrinth of Evil podcast with Journal and read the book, so there's something to that, I guess. Next person.
Look.
Revenge of the Sith, my all-time favorite Star Wars movie, the one that I would also make the argument to be the objective best. And even if you, and whether you like the movie or not, you cannot deny that the movie itself, coupled with all of the supplemental media and tie-ins around it, this movie was, it wasn't just notable within cinema, it was an event within Star Wars history that we've never seen before or since. Yes, I would honestly go so far as to say that the peak of the OT's original run wasn't as momentous as all the hype for episode 3 was. I know, strong words, but fight me on it. And given the current state of the franchise in terms of new material, currently we are hard pressed to see the excitement that this movie created pop culture matched or exceeded again.
You do know that there was a lot more hype for the Phantom Menace releasing, right? You didn't know that.
Well, Phantom Menace was like the next Star Wars movie, the theatrically released Star Wars movie in 16 years. So that.
Yeah, that's why I say that. Yeah. So, indeed. Okay. Now, as for me, well, Revenge of the Sith, my favorite Star Wars movie of all time, and also my favorite movie of all time. I know. Yeah. And I do love a lot of other movies, but this one is the one that I come back to the most, that I know from top to bottom. Yes, in both Spanish and English dubs. Yes, I know the movie a lot. I adore it, and I have plenty of its merchandise and also the video game and everything. I just love the movie to death. I really would love to rewatch it every time. Of course, I like seeing episodes 1, 2, Clone Wars micro series, and then 3, and then the others. Like always do that. And yeah, it was no different for the re-releases of this movie in April. It was awesome seeing both of them, and cosplaying for the first time as Anakin Skywalker was definitely a treat. I didn't think I would ever do for my favorite Star Wars movie, but there you go. It happened, and young me would have definitely flipped his shit out of his mind, because he always envisioned himself as Hayden Christensen sometimes back then. And I guess now, 20 years later, it kind of dream come true, kind of. So it was pretty cool, and yeah, best Star Wars movie, and yeah, I think it's the best Star Wars movie. I know others will disagree, and I know that yes, even if the Phantom Menace had stronger hype, I do think the hype for Revenge was still pretty damn big, and the most significant, definitely for me. So yeah, this movie's awesome. It's no longer in theaters. That stinks, but hey, at least it's on Disney Plus. At least there's Blu-rays. At least there's plenty of ways to watch it. So watch it. But watch first Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, of course, then Revenge of the Sith. If you can, squeeze in Clone Wars 2003. But if not, then just watch the movies and then watch the original trilogy. Then, yeah, go ahead with that. You're going to have a great time. And if you've never seen Star Wars, definitely go in chronological order. So, yeah, that's all I can say for my favorite Star Wars movie. And yes, we might have more to say in future videos. But for now, this is it for the 20th anniversary live stream. And we'll see you guys in the next State of Star Wars video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So yeah.
May the